Is there one specific incident that you can remember that really impacted on you?
Oh mate, there was hundreds and thousands.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I remember one morning really, really early, probably around about 3:30, I was woken up by dogs barking. This, of course, was not unusual, but this particular situation was because we knew when the three of our dogs barked and they barked a specific way, we knew why were they barking, because they had a certain kind of bark if it was a snake, they had a certain kind of bark if it was an intruder, and they had another kind of bark if it was like a large animal. And in this case, they were barking to alert us to a very large animal. There was this massive boar, aggressive boar too, because some of the local people had tracked it, aggressive boar that was very, very close to our house. And so I woke up, and my older brother, who was far more braver than I was, he was out there with a spear trying to stab this boar. And, I got out there with him. I'm yelling, "Paul, come back, come back, come back." And it's turning around, and it's flashing its tusks, and it's grunting, and I'm like, my older brother's just going to get totally smashed by this thing. And anyway, it started running, and it ran and ran, and my brother chased it, and by this time, a number of the local guys, local native friends of ours, they were chasing it, and I chased it, and it kind of did a bit of a, 360 wide turn, and by the time I knew it, it was coming for me. And so I climbed up a tree to get out of the way, and a couple of the guys that had not been real familiar with me, and they knew where we were and whatnot, it was just about to get a little bit light, so your visibility wasn't great, that you could see. And they came past and looked up, and they said, "Oh, there's a monkey in the tree." And I'm like, "Hey, hang on, it's me." And, well, see, the thing was when I was a kid, I had this really, really long, bushy red hair.
Oh, that's funny.
And there's a very bushy monkey as well in Borneo. And for a few split seconds, they had actually kind of misplaced things a bit and thought that I was a monkey. And later I found out one of them was actually just about to throw his spear up. He thought, well, if we don't get the pig, we'll get a monkey.
Oh, my goodness.
It was a really, really scary day. That's just one story, Chris. I've got thousands, mate.
Incredible. So you're definitely someone I'll be inviting to all my parties. So do you have a faith through all of this?
I was challenged from a very young age through the ministry of my parents. My dad would go and he'd risk his life often to share Jesus with those people who are often very hostile to the gospel. Some of them headhunters, some of them people who, of other expressions. But on the other hand, I also saw deep gospel in my mum's ministry as a bush doctor and the sacrifices that Mum made every day to bind up the broken-hearted, people who'd come to her who'd been, women who'd been kicked out of their homes with 3 or 4 children, 5 children sometimes, by alcoholic, aggressive husbands. She would bind up physically those who had been, wounded in accidents or worse, in fights with machetes. I, from a young age, saw some horrific machete wounds, spear wounds that my mum worked really, really hard to bind up and to bandage and to heal and to love these people practically. So from a very young age, I was very inspired to follow in their footsteps, and I feel that throughout my life I've tried to do that.
That's a bit of Simon's story, and today he works for Open Doors, which gives aid to persecuted people around the world.
Life's battles are often won or lost in our minds. Mind Games with psychologist Mara Steepers from the Salvos.
We're looking at our story. We live what we learn, and we learn what we live, a colleague of mine was really fond of saying, and I think that sums up greatly how we actually build our own story based on the experiences that we've had. And every day we are the one with the pen, and we are the result of our own story. Now, because of this, when we experience negative experiences, they can be particularly powerful plot points in our story, and And a lot of the work that I do with people is helping them to work through the impact of negative experiences, the impact of a cumulative effect of negative experiences in their life on their sense of self, on who they are, and how these things can be related to things like confidence, as well as increased depression, anxiety, substance use, and a whole variety of other difficulties in life. Because we live our lives narratively, often when we experience difficulty in the present, it can be coming from some experience that we've had in the past. And my first tip this week is to anyone that's experienced any form of trauma that it's never too late to seek really professional, trauma-informed care to help deal with the impact of those traumatic experiences. And most people who take that very, very, very brave step are able to reclaim aspects of their life that maybe they didn't even know were impacted or were missing. It's really important that wherever any incidents of abuse and trauma are present in our life and part of our narrative, that we're able to seek some really, really expert assistance in overcoming that, because they can be incredibly powerful. Now, I encourage everyone this week to think about their life as a story and to consider, maybe have a cup of coffee at some point, what were the events that shaped you? If you had to pick 4 or 5 plot points in your journey, what were those points which were really, really influential in shaping who you've become? Which characters were influential in your story? What character strengths within yourself have you developed along the way, and how did that come about? What aspects of your story have allowed you to cope or overcome any adversity and keep moving forward? And another really, really good way to shift the focus away from some of the negative things that we've experienced and towards some of the positive things would be to consider, what parts of your life would you like to hand down to say, an imaginary child or a real child? Which aspects of your upbringing in your life would you like to hand down the line? Someone I worked with once said that he understood his life as being a filtering system. He'd had a very negative time, and he was filtering those negative experiences out of his own life so that his kids could have a different story. And it was a really beautiful way of looking at it, and I think we can all take something from that. So, you've got the pen. Be your own editor this week with Mind Games.
Movies, music, books. We review the ones that really help you grow. Review.
Our 60-second review is the book Wanted by Chris Hoke. In short, Wanted follows Hoke's journey as a restless man in the sunny suburbs of his youth to the darker side of society, volunteering as a night shift chaplain at a men's correctional facility. The jail becomes his portal to a mysterious world where gang members dub him their pastor. Wanted is rich with sublime and sacred moments he experienced, like singing with a prisoner who attempted suicide, dodging immigration with migrant farm workers, fly fishing with tattooed gangsters, gaining and losing friends within the prison system, his own despair, and his belovedness of the back of a motorcycle racing through Guatemalan slums. In Wanted, the stories of mystical portraiture offer a new vision of the forgotten souls who've been cast into society's dumpsters, helping us see that beneath even the hardest criminal is a fragile desire to be wanted. Feedback includes taut, tart, furious, merciful, tender, blunt, searingly, piercingly, unforgettably honest, and sometimes so funny I sprained an eyeball laughing. The book Wanted by Chris Hoke.
Next week on Light in Life, we celebrate International Women's Day with some great songs from female recording artists and a chat with a young female entrepreneur who's doing an incredible project to encourage and build up women. In the Bible, in Psalm 27, David writes, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?"
Light and Life, the Salvo's weekly radio show. Change me for...
Join us again tomorrow evening at 1200 UTC or 5:30 p.m. India Standard Time on this same frequency of 15,320 kilohertz in the 19-meter band.